Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today, we are going to be ranking the tracks from the Halloween Jam from the Custom Track Jams. It's been a while since I've done one of these, and I'd like to get back into doing it, because I find it pretty fun to be honest. This jam is personally my favorite jam. I think it is the best jam overall. Yeah, not much else to say. There are quite a few disqualified tracks from this jam, and they will all be included. They have been disqualified for various reasons. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so for our last placing track, we have Untitled by Dare, originally disqualified. So this track was disqualified because it crashes. It is unplayable. It is impossible to play, and it crashes. It was obviously meant to be a joke track. It was supposed to be cannons, which would fire the player around the pumpkin here, but due to the pumpkin being corrupt and whatever else caused the track to crash, it was unfortunately unplayable. Not much else to say about this one. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, and for our 11th placing track, we have Spooky Aliens by Cardofo Corpse, originally disqualified. This track was disqualified because it crashed for many people, and for those that it didn't crash for, it is simply an endless respawn loop. This track, obviously, since it's an endless respawn loop, it isn't that great, though the track layout itself doesn't look too promising either from NoClip, so unfortunately there's not much going for it. The modeling is very impressive, I will give it that. Unfortunately, it's just not enough to get this above 11th place. Alright, that's going to do it for Spooky Aliens by Cardofo Corpse. Alright, and for our 10th placing track, we have Taco Josh's Ruined Custom Track Jam Start Line Banner Hellscape by Jaden Mario Kart Wii. This track was originally disqualified. So, obviously the reason this was disqualified was because it's simply not functional as a track. This was Jaden's first attempt at Blender, and he created it as a joke. And this track just obviously isn't great. The only reason this isn't last is because it's going against two tracks that crash, or a track that crashes completely, and another one that crashes and has an endless respawn loop. So yeah, not really much to say about this one. Just kind of a joke track, and it's just weird. It's just a weird track. Alright, that's going to do it for Taco Josh's Ruined Custom Track Jam Start Line Banner Hellscape by Jaden Mario Kart Wii. Alright, and for our 9th place track, we have Worst Creepy Ruins by Witches by Warwick92XD. This track was originally disqualified. So this track, at first glance, it looks pretty nice. This changes very quickly though, and the reason this was disqualified is that one really nice part and this part too are both copied directly from 3DS DK Jungle, so it was disqualified for using outside models. So this track, it's not great, to be honest with you. It's simply just not a good track. It plays weird, it looks weird, there's this section, and it's just a weird track, and it's just not that great in my opinion. Plus, the only good part, and it's not even that good, is the part that it stole from another track. Not really much to say about this one, just not a great track, in my opinion. Alright, that is going to do it for Worst Creepy Ruins by Witches by Warwick92XD. Alright, so for our 8th placing track, we have The Oldest and Scariest Track in CTGP by Slippery Mac. This track originally placed 8th. It is the first non-disqualified track, this jam. So, this track, it's obviously a remake of Mushroom Peaks. The track, if you know anything about me, I completely despise Mushroom Peaks, and it is my least favorite custom track of all time. I absolutely loathe it. But this remake is pretty impressive. Even though it looks basically the same and plays exactly the same, the amount of effort it took to get that one-on-one, because this is a complete remake from scratch. This doesn't use any outside models. This is completely from scratch. Slippery Mac had to go through a lot of effort to get everything lined up perfectly, which is very impressive, obviously. However, it is a joke track, and it's a remake. It's a good remake, but it's a remake of a track that I personally despise. So, for that, I can't really place it any higher than what it is here. So that is going to do it for the oldest and scariest track in CTGP by Slippery Mac. Alright, and for our 7th placing track, we have Ruined Rainbow Road by Toxic Prime, originally placing 6th. So this one might be controversial, because I did put this below my track, which originally placed lower, but hear me out on this. I don't know, maybe it is creator bias, but there are a few issues, like where I fell off just there. There's some blind parts in the track, which isn't great. The track itself plays okay. It doesn't play particularly interestingly, though. There's some spots that are a bit bumpy, and you can't really go off that ramp without falling off. The main reason this one is below mine, though, is the theming. The theming, it doesn't really scream Halloween to me. It doesn't really scream Ruins to me either. And the theming, it's just a Rainbow Road track. I mean, it's a unique Rainbow Road track, but at the end of the day, it's still a Rainbow Road track. So I have to fault it for that, because the theming just isn't enough to hold my attention. So yeah, that is going to do it for Ruined Rainbow Road by Toxic Prime. Alright, and for our 6th placing track, we have Where Sacrifices Went to Die by Me, originally placing 7th. So the reason this track is above Ruined Rainbow Road is because it's just more interesting to me. The theme is pretty interesting. This is the only really track that is actually legitimately somewhat scary. Obviously it's Mario Kart Wii, so it's not that scary, but yeah, the track itself, it doesn't play the best, and it doesn't look the best, but the theme is on point, and for that reason, it's more memorable to me than Ruined Rainbow Road, which is why it is ahead of Ruined Rainbow Road. There were a lot of good ideas that I tried to implement into here, and I think they paid off. Yeah, I mean, it's just an overall, not a fantastic track, but it's definitely pretty memorable. Alright, that is going to do it for Where Sacrifices Went to Die by Me. Alright, and for our 5th place track, we have Nameless Track, better known now as Heart Attack, by Sheil. This track originally placed 4th. So, although this track does look nice, and it plays okay, it isn't as good as some of the others, I don't think. And though it originally placed higher than one that's higher than it on this list, I just don't think the theme is particularly interesting. It also doesn't really scream Halloween or Ruins to me. The track, it's overall pretty decent, and I like the track. It just isn't memorable at all, and it doesn't really fit the themes, I don't think. Plus the theming of the track itself isn't too interesting. Yeah, not really much else to say about this one. That is going to do it for Nameless Track by Sheil. Alright, and for our 4th place track, we have Wario's Crumbled Coliseum by Justin, originally placing 5th. So, this one, it was very underrated in its original jam, and I think most people agree. This track definitely should have placed higher than it did. I think most people agree with that. The track itself it's a good idea. I really like the idea. It looks nice. It plays very well. I don't really have too many gripes with this track. The only reason it's not higher is because the other ones are simply better, in my opinion. Which is saying a lot, because this track is really, really great. Yeah, not really much else to say about this one, just an overall very solid track. Alright, that is going to do it for Wario's Crumbled Coliseum by Justin. Alright, and for our 3rd place track, we have Wicked Woods by KevinVG207, originally placing 3rd. So, this track, there's not really much to say about it. It's not that memorable in my opinion, but it is a very, very solid track. It looks very nice, it plays pretty well. It's not that far ahead of Wario's Crumbled Coliseum, to be honest. I just think the modeling is a bit more impressive on this one, and I think it looks a bit nicer, which is the only reason why it's ahead of that one. It's just overall a solid track, not overly memorable, but solid. Not much to say about this one. That is going to do it for Wicked Woods by KevinVG207. Alright, and for our 2nd place track, we have Haunted Library by Zachy, originally placing 2nd. So, I know this opinion is going to be somewhat controversial. A lot of people wanted this one to be 1st, and I honestly would not be opposed to putting it there. I want you guys to know this decision was easily the hardest one in the entire Ranking the Custom Track Jams series, because I really like both this track and the 1st place track. There is really only one reason that, well, 2 reasons why this one is below the other one, and that's because this one lacks a mini-map, and it lacks animations. That is legitimately the only reason why this one is placing lower than the 1st place track. Both tracks are incredibly solid. These are 2 of the finest jam tracks. This is probably the best top 2 of all time, except for maybe Technology. Yeah, this track is just so incredibly solid. It's a shame that it would have won pretty most other jams, to be honest. Yeah. Unfortunately, those 2 things caused it to be lower in my rankings. So yeah, that's going to do it for Haunted Library by Zachy. Alright, and for our 1st place track, we have CT Cemetery by Redefi, or Redefi. I always mispronounce their name. I am very sorry for that. This track, it's just so incredibly solid. There are quite a few bugs, like there's a few ultra shortcuts on this track. But overall, this track is just amazing visually. This track is just incredible visually. The gameplay holds it back a little bit. It's not particularly interesting to play, but it doesn't play bad. It's just not the most intriguing in terms of gameplay. Yeah, it's just overall a very solid track, and it's really just barely edged out Haunted Library. So yeah, not much else to say about this one. That is going to do it for CT Cemetery by Redefi, or Redefi, however you pronounce it. Alright, that is going to do it for today's video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. I sure did. Once again, as I always say, if your track placed lower than you thought it should have, it is not a personal thing against you. I just simply thought the other tracks were better. Yours was probably still very good. I just preferred some other ones. Yeah, not really much else to say. I hope you guys enjoyed, and since you made it to the end of the video, I'll just shameless plug, this new project. Well, not necessarily new, but this project that me, Jaden Mario Kart Wii, Nintendo Yoshi, and Toxic Prime have been working to start up again, which is the SMG Custom Tracks project. This project aims to make custom tracks based on every galaxy in Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. We have recently started up events called CT Prankster Comets, which are events where you are given a dome, everybody has the same dome, and you have to make a galaxy make a track based on a galaxy from that particular dome. It can be any galaxy you want. So we are currently doing the first one, which is the Terrace CT Prankster Comet. So if you want to join the SMG Custom Tracks Discord server and participate, the link will be in the description below, and we hope to see you there. Alright, nothing else to say. I will let you guys go. Yeah, that's gonna do it, and I will see you guys on the next one. Alright, bye.